Good morning, and I suppose that the theory of this video is going to mostly be, number one, me working very hard not to say in every sentence, and the second one being the selling of bows. A lot of bow makers out there, a lot of beginning bow makers out there, and who hasn't dreamed about making a little extra selling their art? And my biggest bit of advice would be, wait for this car to pass by, is settle on a design that really speaks to you and work with it, develop it, and make it the best bow possible. In the past, I've gone off and I've had people ask me, you know, I want this kind of bow or that kind of bow. It's an interesting thing to do. It's an interesting avocation, but no, an upset deer over there. It's really tough to see any form of profit, and you're not going to get rich doing this by jumping around and going from design to design. Good examples of that would be me with my paddle bow. Another one, oops, I said would be Mead longbows. There's a really upset deer back there. The fellow that does Mead longbows, the bamboo horse bows, really developed the heck out of that design, and is successful in it because it's a good design and he's worked with it, and that's basically what he does. Another one would be, I suppose I'm name dropping here and I don't have permission, so my apologies if it offends you, hopefully it doesn't, is Mike at Pine Hollow Longbows, who has a reflex, deflex, Osage sinew back design that he feels very confident with, and that's basically the core of his bow building business. Specialization. There are people that specialize in English longbows, U longbows, people that specialize in West Coasty type sinew back, juniper, and U paddle bows, people that specialize in, I'm not aware of any right offhand, but I'm sure there are the Northern Plains or Southern Plains horse bows. It's good to be 100% familiar with that version of a bow that you build. Now, I have more than a few people that email me or make comments on my YouTube channel regarding paddle bows. And so I'm just going to discuss this and help you along a little bit. It's an elegant design. It appears simple, but it's a little more complex, you know, to squeak every bit of possible performance out of it. First off, there are pyramid bow builders, there are paddle bow builders, and in some respects, pyramid bows could be one of the fastest versions, minus like recurving and deflexing and reflexing and shaping that there would be. It's just a very efficient design. Pyramid bow, if you're not familiar with it, has straight sides and gets bigger all the way to the handle, and you know, whatever your fade out design is, it works about the same. Straight sides, it's a triangle. It's a triangle, and it's basically tillered because the bow limbs are a constant thickness throughout, and it uses width tapering for the bend. Now, if you notice, and let's do this view, you can see there's a curve to this. The speed robbing portions would probably be middle limb to the tip. You know, so my shape is very similar to a pyramid bow. It has very minor curving between middle limb and the tip, so it's basically kind of a pyramid bow that's cut off near the handle, and this is not the speed robbing portion of the bow. And so these are, for all intents and purposes, about as fast as a pyramid bow. Now, I don't know if you can see the width, and it's deceptive. You're looking across this and you're saying, well, it's got some string follow. Some of that is an optical illusion. If you follow the line to the back, it's pretty darn flat. But these, thickest near the handle, then they thin out near middle limb. The middle limb is the thinnest part, and then it gains a little bit of thickness. The funny thing about thickness is, as far as stiffness, as far as the bend is concerned, adjusting the thickness is 4 times more efficient than narrowing the sides. And so you get more of an advantage thinning it than you do changes in width. I have to have it go a little bit thicker here just for the bend. In my tips, you can see these. I'll do kind of a 360 view. You know, they're almost needle tips, very light, because there's no extra wood where it doesn't need to be. And it's also rounded quite a bit to lighten it through here. Part of it is elegance, but a lot of this lightening is for speed. And if you're looking at it, you can see the back isn't flat. I don't like flat backs. It's probably the most efficient way to do a bow, but just knocking it into a rounded shape, and it's probably not a flat spot in this, maybe a little flat right here, but that gives a subtle elegance to it, and I really like that. The handle section, I'll do kind of a 360 view here, very rounded through there. I experimented with bent through the handle paddle bows, 64 inches knock to knock, and I don't like them. There's no reason, first of all, to have it bent through the handle. You don't need to increase the amount of bend in this system in order to survive a 28 to 30 inch draw. These can handle a 30-inch draw. And also it causes string shock. The other reason that I do not like bent through the handle paddle bows in this length is that with red oak, if you get to a certain poundage, 28, 29 inch draw, with red oak it's probably about, I'm guessing here, in the 55 to 60 pound range. And white ash, which makes for a fast paddle bow even less, 45 pounds. The transition from the wide limbs to the narrowed, thickened handle, if it bends throughout, you are going to have compression issues here. There's more movement because of the bend, and so you are going to wind up having compression failure if you have a whitewood bow, red oak, white ash. Other woods along that route are considered whitewoods. You're going to have compression failure here. And so this is a non-bending handle for 50, 55, 60 pound bow, paddle bow, my design. This has to be greater than 3/4 of an inch thick. It has to be 7/8 of an inch thick. So if you don't have access to a thicker wood, glue a riser block to it and then shape it. It has to be greater than 3/4 of an inch, or else you're going to have bent through the handle. What else? Okay, my strings. Occasionally people are like, I want to use a 2-loop string. Well, these are not designed for a 2-loop string. They need to grip with one tied on end, and then I'll slide this off the bottom here before I string it up and throw an arrow. Occasionally I just knot them, or I have a plated loop. That's a plated loop, and don't worry about this fuzz. This is just the ends of the string that get bent back and then twisted through there. It's a plated loop. So always maintain contact with the tips in the center of the handle, and I like the pin knocks because I can just slide it off. I can adjust the brace height by twisting it. I don't need to retie that knot. And with the rawhide ones, you know, I'm a minimalist as far as brace height. This is probably in the range of 5 1/4 inches. I like it between 5 and 6 inches. With my self paddle bows, 5 1/2 maximum. With the rawhide, said again, tipping up towards 6. You're going to have paradox with this. It's the nature of the beast. And so you work with the arrows. If you notice this is 28 inches to here, and so that's another 4 inches or so. I like longer arrow shafts because the longer arrow shafts help reduce the issues with paradox. If I was a 28 inch draw, I'm 29, 30 when I'm flight shooting, 31 sometimes these can take it. If I was to cut this off just beyond my draw length, it would be a more critical thing in spining. I can take 45, 50 pound spined arrows, and basically if they're 31 inches, this is a little longer than that, I have no issues with paddle bows from 40 pounds to 65 or 70. Longer arrows just seem to work better. What kind of shafting material? Sitka spruce. I'm not a Port Orford guy. This is an old arrow. It's bounced off of rocks. It's bounced off of trees. And it's still intact because it's Sitka spruce. Much tougher than Port Orford. It's also about the same lightness. And so you're not getting a heavy arrow with Sitka spruce. It's not going to be like an oak or hickory arrow. It's about as light as Port Orford cedar, but it's a lot tougher. So Sitka spruce is your friend. As far as fletching, give a close-up here. This is sinew, and it's sanded, so it's smooth. When it flies off my hand, I do not need to use a shooting glove because I'm not going to have a loose vein there, and it's not going to drive through my hand because I use sinew. If you have fletching that's glued on, look at that, they don't realize we don't open until 10. If you're just gluing them on, I would recommend getting a leather shooting glove. The horn bows, sinew back wood horn bows that like Europeans, Mongolians, people in other parts of the Asian world use, they shoot off the hand. And so leather gloves are a good thing. So in case you have a bad fletching job there, which I've been guilty of being lazy and shooting with poorly glued on fletching, I've had veins of arrows shooting through my hand. If you're not confident, if you don't use the sinew trick there, walnuts, you're going to hurt your hand. Another tip might be getting fletch tight, and smearing a little bit and smoothing it and just making sure that your arrows are good. As far as the bend that these have, I'm looking at it. Whoa, another big walnut bomb. Non-bending through the handle, then it starts beyond the fade and goes all the way to here. So there's a lot of bending room in here. And let's see, I don't have the target set up. I should try to shoot one of those walnuts out of the tree. Okay, we're gonna wait. Nah, just kidding. You know, so they do shoot. They do bend good. The original Bowflex. And so there we are. Getting back to the original point is that if you want to sell, there's room for bow makers out there. There's a lot of people that want to have bows. Concentrate on one design, develop the heck out of it. And I would also add, unless you're 100% confident in your bow, don't sell it. There's no reason for that. I've, done the thing that some bow makers do, buying bows from my competitors just to check them out. And I've bought, the typical like hickory board bow, $65, and shot well for the first day, and then it kept gaining string follow and more string follow, and they achieved their goal. I'm not going to mention any names here. They sold a bow, they made a few dollars. But I was not pleased with it. I forgot what I did with it. It's firewood or something like that. But I did not sense that there was any pride or love that went into that bow. I'm sounding all flowery here. It was intended just to make some money. And that is not a good way to do business. Stand behind your products, be good to people, be confident in your bow. Every bow you sell should, just, fill your heart with promise of it going off and achieving its goal, whether or not it's successful target shooting or successful hunting. You need to be proud of everything you sell. And with that, and this bow is claimed, by the way. I need to make an arrow for another bow that he bought. and then pack it up and send it off to the great state of Texas. And thank you, Texas, and thank you, California, because you are two big bow buying states. You've been very good to me, as well as the other states out there. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for being my friends. And you know, in the long run, that's what matters. Whoa, I just noticed there's a native sunflower that just popped up in the turtle enclosure. Got a turtle right in there, along with walnut bombs. Anyway, thank you very much, and I really am sorry that, like, if you ask me to make a bow of a certain style, I'm going to have to turn you down and refer you to people that specialize in that style. You know, why not? There's enough bow buying to be spread around to the people who concentrate on a certain style. My styles, the gull wing sinew back bows, which I'm going to be very, very, careful in how many orders I take for that, and of course this. I want to continue developing this, maybe experiment a little bit with recurving to some degree. I think there's possibilities there. I'd love to test out a deflex reflex PB. I think it would be an amazing bow, but that is yet to come. The Beauty Shot Thunderbird bow. Excellent. And for those of you who want one of my bows, one of these, I have, at this point, pretty much caught up. I have one name, Howdy Tim. Got more rawhide strips. Hopefully Mike Yancey has a herd of deer because I'm going to keep him busy supplying me with rawhide strips, but there's going to be 1 to 2 of these I make every week, and so if you want one, you're going to get one. Have a great day, everyone. This is such a nice bow. Oh, I forgot. This was a very important point. For those of you who make dimensionally lumberized or board bows, the best grain orientation is a rift sawn, where you look at the end and you see the angle here. You may think that plain sawn or growth ring bows work out the best, but what I've found is that they're not as stiff, and they tend to gain more string follow than boards that had an angle. I don't like quarter sawn, especially on bows that have a change in thickness, because they could literally chip off if they're not backed. But if you have on the low side 30 to maybe 45 degrees, 30 being this way, almost more flat than vertical, that is the best that I found. It's a good mixture of being resistant to like pieces chipping off, to draw weight, and resistance to string follow. So look for between 30 and let's say 40 degrees from the horizon as far as the tilt. And with that said, now I'm done. Now I'm done.